The Hustle Share podcast is sponsored by One CFO, the Philippines' leading fractional CFO services provider for startups, scale-ups, and SMEs. Experience the power of tech-enabled, efficient, affordable, and expert-led fractional CFO services. Let One CFO handle your finances so you can focus on growing your business. Book your free CFO consultation today.
Because being a faculty in the college, you need to have a master's, right? So I took up my master because I wanted to go back kasi matatawa ka talaga. Kasi gusto ko ng discount sa school.
Wise! Okay.
So there, that was my, Di mo natawa ka doon?
Welcome to Hustle Share, the podcast that features the daily grinds of unique hustlers around the world to show not our differences, but that our hustles are very much alike. Now here's your host, Ronster Baetiong.
Welcome to the latest episode of Share Podcast. It's Philippine Startup Week again. I can't believe it's now like year 6 or year 7. I don't even know.
Year 7.
7. I still remember the first one with Kat and Tasha going bonkers over this thing and all the top 100 startups that come and go and whatnot. But I'm just glad that there's just now becoming annual homecoming of the Philippine startup ecosystem, whether it's good, the bad, and the ugly, whatever state we're in. But this is also a proof of a thriving startup ecosystem that already has its root. Flowered, it would vary, but the roots are there. Yeah. That's the most important thing. And of course, one of the biggest roots in the land is Scale NCR, which is technically a consortium of all the TBIs in the metro. There you go. But without further ado, let's welcome to the show the president of Scale NCR, Miss Christina Ibanez. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. So thank you, Ron, for having me.
Ayan, I'll call you ma'am kasi you're an educator.
Oh my God.
Just kidding. It would be weird to not call you ma'am. Diba? I have all my profs in college and all that. I don't care how far I've come. When I go home, I will always call him or her ma'am or sir. Ayan, there you go. And I'll come clean later why this is actually pretty personal to you. But before we start before I get carried away, ma'am, I need to ask you the $1 million question. Ma'am, what's your hustle?
Okay, so I'm Christina Ibanez, but everybody calls me Indo. That's my nickname.
Indonesia?
So, yeah,
there you go.
But I don't own Indonesia.
Sayang.
Okay, so everybody knows me as Indo. I've been working at Miriam College for more than 15 years already.
Wow.
But with the incubator and the innovation center, it's 10 years.
What? Tagal na. Okay, that's amazing.
Oh, matagal na. I've been working with a startup ecosystem for almost a decade. Next year.
Nice.
I learned a lot. Learned how to do things on my own because understanding the ecosystem as an academic person is kind of difficult. I mean, the world is very much different.
Yep.
So, in 2016, I joined the ecosystem. I cried.
We still cry as founders, ma'am. Normal yan. Okay.
I cried building our incubator.
Yeah.
And after which, I think everything went well already.
Yep. That's amazing.
So, I've been here for 10 years, so thank God that I'm kind of like sustaining and enjoying, I think, helping startups and future entrepreneurs by sharing what the academe can do and what this consortium can do as well.
Okay. So again, I have a bias, ma'am. I like MC. I like MC, but my heart and soul will always belong to one of your consortium members. I'm a Tamashan.
Okay.
And I am a product, actually, of entrepreneurship in UST. I'll tell you my story in a bit later
Okay.
because MC is very, very, very close to my heart because I was even um, a student leader back then. But before I get carried away, real quick muna, because we're already talking about the past. I need you to buckle up because we're gonna have to go all the way back to talk about the origin story. Of course, you gave us the outline of how we got there, but we can't get here without going through every single detail of how you got here because we're gonna have to ride the Hustle Share Time Machine. And we're all the way back. So, ma'am, before we start, I want to understand first, Ma'am Indo. Ayan.
Yes.
I wanna get to the weeds. Every hustler, so whether you created your incubator, you're a startup founder, or wherever you end up in the startup ecosystem, you won't get here if you don't have solid foundations getting here because this is one of the craziest paths to take, regardless of where you end up in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
You have to be a little cuckoo to be here, all right? Because contrary to popular belief, people think that, oh wow, it's just a glamorous ecosystem. No, it's not. It's one of the most difficult
Yes.
things to do. But ma'am, I want to understand your origin story and what your first few exposures to hustling are. And how did that lead you to the path of being an educator? Because that's such a hustle. And obviously rewarding for those people that love it. I do not see myself as an educator. Parang mentor pwede pa, but not as an educator. I was a bad student. So what was that like? What were your first few exposures?
Okay. I grew up in a family business. So my mom and my dad are entrepreneurs. We own a hospital, we own a manufacturing company. So growing up really is being immersed in the family business. So that's why I took up BS entrepreneurship.
Androp ka din. What
Yes.
the hell? Okay. No,
So
but
I'm
Mhm.
one of the first graduates of the BS entrepreneurship program in the Philippines. So that's
Wow.
way long
Where
time
which
ago.
school?
Miriam.
MC. So you really
Yeah.
stayed put. I was also entrep. So wait, I want to understand this because man, I have a very profound I'll tell you, it's super funny. I'm also a graduate of entrepreneurship in UST. I
UST.
graduated 2010. Okay? Titong
Okay.
tito na rin po ako. Okay? I'm not a young spring chicken anymore. All
So
right?
you're a member of ENEDA. And
Yes, I was a student leader of ENEDA. I was supposed to be the president of
Yes.
Young, yes. And then on our batch, we changed the name to Young Society of Tomasian Entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, I'll go segue na. All right. So I was a part of ENEDA. In 2009, I was one of the student leaders that was sent over to this national conference that you guys do. Okay, so obviously I met Miss Garch. Forgot the other
Yeah.
guy, the mestizo guy that from
From
Miriam. From Miriam, there's only two guys. There's a
Miss Gash.
Miss Gatchalian, and there's
Yeah.
one more, the mestizo guy.
We have a mestizo guy.
Medyo chubby, mestizo, looks Spanish like a friar. That vibe. Basta,
Oh, sorry, Dr. Lopez.
yun, sorry, Doc Lopez. If I call you mestizo, look like a friar. My bad. But I went to ENEDA. I was one of the student leaders of UST. ENEDA. That's why it is so profound. Okay, I'll tell you ha. It's a little pakilig. 2009, we was sent to Bohol ENEDA conference. There was also a representative of the best entrepreneurship student of LaSalle Dasma. ENEDA rin siya. Young Entrepreneur Society. When I met her, fell in love. Dream girl. Wow. She's now my wife.
Wow, that's a nice
So
story.
thank you, and
Thank you, ENEDA.
I
I'm the
am my
president.
dream girl.
I'm the
Ayan.
president of ENEDA now.
Ayan, may nagkakainlaban dyan, ma'am. Okay.
Oo. Meron akong student. Way back 2012. So mag-asawa na rin sila. San Beda and Miriam
Nauna
naman.
kami. Ayan. Alright.
So kayo pala ang founder.
Kaya nga, i-invite nyo na kami ulit. Yeah, so it's so profound. I will never forget it. But Sorry, ma'am. I'll just go back to your origin story. Being a child of entrepreneurs is very different because most people, and correct me if I'm wrong, school is designed to create followers, not people
Yes.
who go against the grain. Let's just call it what it is, right? That's why we have templates, we have courses, because these are paths or templates that people can come from or follow already with a definite or finite end game, right? In an entrepreneurship, yes, there's also finite, but the sky's the limit, and but
Yes.
the risk and degree of
It's
difficulty
high.
is tenfold.
Yes.
What was it like being raised by entrepreneur parents, right? And how did that trickle into you very early on? What were those little things that you remember seeing them do or hearing them say that basically rubbed off onto you?
Okay, so I think growing up with an entrepreneur parents, as young as grade school, every summer we need to work. So we have to do certain tasks in the factory or in the hospital or whatsoever.
Mm.
So at an early stage, I learned how to. We have a shoe manufacturing in this company.
Mm.
So I learned how to, the soles in your shoes. I learned how to pattern them, cut them, and all of that. And then I learned to do books as well.
Mm.
I learned how to do payroll every Saturday.
Yeah.
Everything. So that's the only time we get allowance during summer.
You earn it.
Yes. So we needed to work.
Got
So
it.
that's what helped. I think that's what formed me as who I am right now.
Mm.
Understanding the operations,
Yeah.
learning.
Mm.
Because everything I learned in BS entrepreneurship are all theoretical at the end of the day. So learning them and applying them in the factory and what I'm doing is what's more important. Sabi mo nga, diba? It's sky's the limit. So, you learn to pivot. Hindi ito nag-work yung theory na to. Hindi pala totoo to, yung ganyan.
Mm.
So, it's really, it bridged me to understanding the
Yeah.
real concept of business and
Yeah.
entrepreneur.
In entrepreneurship, again, you can study all you want, the theory of it,
Yes.
but you can never really fully understand what it's like
Yes.
until you're in the game and you're starting to bleed and you taste it, the taste of your own blood.
Yeah.
Kasi it's not easy. So now I want to get into you being an entrep student. Ayan na, mga naglalabasan ng uban namin. Okay. Because here's the thing, I always say it in Entrep UST. The reason why I took up entrepreneurship in UST, because in between first year and second year college, I flunked algebra. Nobody fails in algebra. So if you ever know Ma'am Bautista from UST, si Ma'am Pau, Paula Bautista. Ayan. Okay. Hindi na babagsak yun, ma'am. Ako lang binagsak. Okay. So it's like, all right, that was my wake-up point. And it's like, all right, I gotta stop being an idiot. And kasi varsity po dati. So, utak, galawang varsity. Alam nyo naman, pag utak and galawang varsity, hindi nagsiseryoso. I had to change my ways. I had to work in a call center. That's also how I learned how to speak this way. And it's the best skill that I've learned. And it changed the whole trajectory of my life. But during that early stint, I realized that no matter how hard I work, if I took up the path of employment, no matter how hard I work, everything that I earned is capped.
Yes.
Pero mali I mean, hindsight being 2020 now, apparently there's a lot of ways to get there also, not just entrepreneurship. And then I encountered this first book of Go Negosyo, like this entrepreneurs who did. So in a way, I also brainwashed myself. Like, all right, I'll never get to my destination if I'm not if I do corporate, because it was such a taxing thing and I just didn't see myself following people. I have an authority problem still now. I don't like being told what to do. Pasaway talaga ako by default. All right? And entrepreneurship thrives in that.
Yes.
So I took up entrepreneurship in UST. I think I was the third or fourth batch. So hilaw na hilaw pa. And I even had to beg because I just waitlisted when they asked us to do this. And sinamambaluyot pa to. I remember crying. Si Ma'am Mary. Mom,
Yes.
give me a chance. And I said, I'll make sure that I'll be an asset to the ecosystem. And I changed my ways. They eventually did that. My first startup, Miss Indo, my first thesis pala was my very first tech startup in
Oh,
2009.
nice.
My teachers did not understand what
The
the
tech.
hell I was doing. Na yung product ko is a website. It's a website to get people in the guest list of nightclubs in the Philippines. That was the thing. It's called guestlist.ph.
Mm.
And I had to go through hell just to para pumasa lang. So that was my thesis na ipasa ko naman. Pero it was so against the grain. And then down the
Yeah.
road, I went back in 2012 to bring Idea Space, intro them to Eneda, to kina Miss Dayan and all that, Earl and all that. That's how they all met na, and the rest is history. I want to understand, what was it like for your experience being an entrepreneurship student, and how different were the things that you were taught in school versus reality that you knew growing up?
Okay. So, being an entrep student, parang madali lang.
Yung
Kasi
cash flow
siguro-
hindi totoo? Okay.
Oo. Kasi siguro growing up in the family business, diba? So, everything that I remember, one of my accounting teacher,
Mhm.
ako na yung nagturo sa class. Sabi ko, ma'am, mali yung tinuturo.
Wow.
So everybody's copying my, anong tawag doon? Yung papel pa na malaki, diba? So, pahiram nga ako ng balance sheet mo, ganyan-ganyan. Di ko naintindihan si ma'am eh. So, I think growing up in the reality of doing business and learning in school, diba? It helped me really apply yung skills na meron akong na-acquire sa family business to what I do in school. So, parang everything that I do in school is easy. It's easy to learn. I mean, it's easy to do things. Madaling mag-event. Madaling kumuha ng contacts. Kasi diba, like in a family in our family business, my parents exposed me with suppliers, with everybody. So being a student, knowing sino kailangan ko lapitan, parang dumali yung buhay. So, siguro ako nerd.
You have to.
Masasabi natin ganyan. But the concepts that I learned in school, yung mga time in motion, mga ganyan, ito pala yung sinasabi na time in motion. So, na-apply ko naman siya.
Got it.
And then, I remember, Miss Gatch told me, kapag hindi mo na alam ang ginagawa mo, go back as an as a child of an entrepreneur. Intindihin mo, input, process, output lang yan.
Okay,
So,
that's
until
amazing.
now, yun lang yun, input, process, output.
That's amazing. So now that's what I want to know. So you took up entrepreneurship. Obviously, you had
Alam mo
to.
kung ba't ako nag-entrep?
Bakit?
Kasi ang haba nung pila sa BA. Ayaw kong pumila. Actually, kasi di ba mag-a-apply ka ng major mo, ganyan.
Yeah.
Oh my God, ang haba ng pila. Tapos they offered BS Entrep. We're one of the first schools who offered BS Entrep. Try ko na lang to since Entrep yung magulang ko.
Yeah.
Yun yung reason.
But here's my question now, and this is still what breaks my heart till now. Hindsight being 2020. There's several types, like you. I would say a good chunk of my class were second generation entrepreneurs. So they have inheritance to do.
Yes.
Me, I've never had an entrepreneur to look up to before. My mom was a raketera, but not a full-blown. Iba yung racket sa may pinapasweldo ka. Those are two different things that you worry about, right? A lot of the people that still end up becoming inevitable entrepreneurs are those people that have inheritance. So, syempre, sino magmamana ng business, right? What breaks my heart is when I see people that high potential naman sana took up entrepreneurship and never took the plunge. Because what we're taught in school in entrepreneurship is you should go. The reason why you're taking this up is because you're taking the road less traveled and you want to provide value to the country,
Yes.
or whatever, because you provide employment. that no amount of flood control politicians can take away from you.
Yes.
Unless contractor ka. Okay. No, what I'm saying is you're trying to provide value and livelihood to people while solving a problem and also creating profit for
Yes.
yourself. Right? Pero in your case, have you seen that trend also na every time somebody takes entrepreneurship, only a select few pa rin from those who take entrepreneurship becoming true blue entrepreneurs.
Yeah, luckily I think sa Miriam naman, based on looking for our graduates, I would say 57-60% of our graduates really do start their business.
Nice.
So I think it's because, as you mentioned, they inherited something or they have the capital to start with, right? But going around the Philippines, kasi nga, di ba, ako nga ngayon si Ineda.
Yeah.
So going around the Philippines, I think ang struggle talaga, may struggle talaga. It's because first, di ba, what is the goal of BS Entrep? To set up your own business or startup at the end of the day, right? But the faculty that they have in provinces are really academicians. So how could they teach Entrep if they never experienced being an entrepreneur? And heavy pa din sa academic requirements in terms of applying the concept dun sa business nila. Sabi mo nga kanina, diba? Mali pala yung cash flow. Pero we just follow the formula.
Yeah, it's the
Right?
blind leading the blind.
Oo. So, I guess we're lucky in the National Capital Region because our students have the means. They have the environment and support so that they could become an entrepreneur.
I didn't. Anak mahirap ako, ma'am. So what I had to do, I learned how to do this. That's from the get-go. And this is the curse that I've put myself into. I chose hard mode every single time. I'm on my fourth startup na, ma'am. Imagine, since UST days, 2009, I created 4 companies.
4 startups.
Yeah. First one was the first and only nightlife app that created here in the Philippines. And this is the trope. Number 1, whenever I create one, I need to raise funding from the get-go. Because I don't have any inheritance. Okay? My mom made enough as a single mom to raise a child kahit sobrang hirap on her own, put her in great school. But anything beyond that, yung livelihood, can't. So that's on me. So I always have to raise funding from VCs and angels. So I did that in my first startup, Partyfile. So it was contrarian also, the first of its kind. Second, it failed. My first startup failed. Second startup was Chatbot PH. Yun, naka-exit ako in 2016. That's why probably they invited me there sa Miriam. All right. Third is the current one still, Podcast Network Asia, the biggest and first podcast network that are still alive and kicking 6 years on here in the Philippines. And fourth is the first pressure washing service company in the Philippines called Papa Pressure. So,
pero you have kasi I mean, you have the grit to start
correct
what you want.
Yes, pero yun nga, I didn't have access. So, bihira yung tulad ko na makapal mukha. that will actually raise. All 4 startups have raised funding from VCs.
On your own, right?
On my own. Kasi nga wala akong pampuhunan. So, that's what sucks. Kasi pag anak mahirap ka, parang you already have a handicap.
But I think the landscape is changing now.
Yes. And it can be done.
Yes.
Kasi nga, this is also what I want to share. Na, you know what? Entrepreneurship students, the perfect time to become an entrepreneur is when you don't have many responsibilities yet, whether you're a student or a young 20-something. And your room for mistakes is only chances pa yan.
Yes.
Correct. Last question, ma'am, before we take our place break. So obviously, entrepreneurship students, this is super personal to me. Usually, hindi ako madaldal yung guest madaldal. But I'll stop in the second part. I wanna ask what compelled you. Because everyone, when they get out of school, they don't want to come back. I have batchmates that never gone back to UST anymore. What made you stay and now want to teach entrepreneurship and pass it on and move it forward? Where did the feeling and of paying it forward as an educator come from, especially if you came from a family of entrepreneurs?
This is funny. Why? Because being a faculty in the college, you need to have a master's, right? So I took up my master because I wanted to go back. Kasi matatawa ka talaga. Kasi gusto ko ng discount sa school.
Wais! Okay.
So there, that was my Di mo natawa ka doon?
Galing.
Yun talaga. Kasi I'm doing business and all of that. I have a daughter. Sabi ko, ang mahal ng education ngayon. I think I'll take up my master's. Then teach part-time in Miriam because there's a certain percentage of discount, right?
Yep. Sayang naman.
Oo, sayang, diba? And of course, at the end of the day, I wanted to give my daughter the same education that I got. And okay. And then I never imagined that I would stay. And then I will be doing this. So when I started teaching, that was summer of 2010. I realized that madami pala akong pwedeng gawin. Madami akong pwedeng i-share sa mga students. And I could mold them in really becoming an entrepreneur and giving them opportunities.
Yeah.
So that ma-realize nila na it's okay to fail. Funding can be a problem, but there is a way.
Pero kaya yan.
Oo. And then, ayun, ito. Fast forward to 15 years, ito na ako.
And I love it. And what I just love, and I can super relate, is the same thing eh. I mean, I've been trying to harp on startups before. It took a while before UST got it. Panahon pa ni Ma'am Mary. Then it became Sir Aban. Now si Ma'am Bartz. My Ma'am Bartz is still my teacher from before. So she knows me. Ayan. Si Baekyung. Ayan. So yeah, Ma'am Bartz. The immortal Ma'am Bartz.
Yes.
Ayan. I come back because I always believe I it's not a numbers game. I feel like every single batch there will be someone that has a chance to break the ceiling every time. And if I don't try my best to at least inspire or give that person the path to tech startuphood, knowing what I know now, sayang. Because that window of opportunity is only going to be around for so long. Until life gets in the way, until they stop believing that they can do it.
Yeah, totoo yan. Especially when I was immersed now with the startups. Sinasabihan ko yung mga bata, pwede ba tigilan na natin cupcake?
Show my with a twist. Oh my God.
So I'm happily, I kind of changed the curriculum, integrated a lot of technology in it, and being with Eneda as well helped me. I think I'm trying to advocate that technology is not really high-tech. It's not, diba? Hindi naman talaga kailangan high-tech ang i-produce ng mga bata.
Yeah.
As long as they see that there is an innovation in the product or services that they're doing.
Yep.
Bank on that. So, yun yung ginagawa ko every time I go around.
Yeah. And you don't have to be the third or the fourth Shomai stand in.
Correct.
Diba? You have to be contrarian in nature. Kasi there's so many problems that can be solved and you don't have to play the war of attrition in a red ocean. O yan, natututunan ko yung mga sinasabi ni na Sir Susan before. Okay. They're coming in. You have to be contrarian in nature. And no matter where you come from, just the fact that you're already taking the path of entrepreneurship, whether it's a tech startup or not, it doesn't matter. You need to be able to find opportunities hidden in plain sight. Not gaya-gaya. Okay, ma'am, let's take our first break, and when we come back, we will not talk about, obviously, how Eneda and Scale NCR has now taken into shape. Because obviously, when we started this out, all of this were siloed, very siloed, kanya-kanya. How did it become centralized and it become this thing called a consortium called Scale NCR?
Sure.
Yep, but let's talk about that more after the break.
Hey hustlers, ever feel like your money's flowing in, but your profits are nowhere to be seen? Is managing your cash a constant source of stress, leaving you anxious about day-to-day operations? Or maybe you're holding back on growth because you're unsure if your finances are really stable. The real problem? You don't have a clear picture of your finances. Without a strategic financial partner, you're basically operating in the dark, always one step away from hidden pitfalls. But what if you had a seasoned fractional CFO who understands these challenges and gives you clear and straightforward steps to increase profits and grow steadily without the cost of a full-time CFO? That's what One CFO delivers. One CFO combines the strategic thinking of experienced CFOs with their own cutting-edge CFO tech platform, giving you transparent, real-time insights that empower you to make smart moves. They're the go-to fractional CFO partner for growing companies like Quick Insure, Avion School, JLabs, Advance, OneLot, Colorette, and Stash, helping them conquer financial challenges and achieve remarkable growth. Imagine having a crystal clear view of your financial performance and the confidence to execute bold growth-driving strategies. Ready to level up? Click the link in the description or go to onecfoph.co. That's onecfoph.co right now to book your free no-obligation consultation. Gain clarity in your finances and grow your business with confidence. Click the link or visit onecfoph.co today.
And we're back from the break. We're still with Miss Indo Ibanez. Ayan, in the right name na. All right.
Oo nga.
But I want to understand, ma'am. So now you are an educator. You're
Yes.
part of ENEDA, and for those people who don't know what ENEDA stands for, is Entrepreneurship Education Educators Association in the Philippines. Ayan. Okay, that's where I met my wife, so I'm always going to be grateful. I want to understand now how the first incubator in Miriam was like, because I remember the early workings also of Tomasino. It wasn't even called TIC before.
Yeah.
It was a slow grind. It took a while, but eventually it get there. But you guys were always going to be one of the first few in the country. You guys, UP, Doc Louie.
Oo.
I also just had recently Animal Labs with Dave and all that.
Dave.
But how did you guys originate the incubator, and how did the startup ecosystem come to fold? Why a startup ecosystem, not like any other incubator that could have been done?
Okay, I think way back 2016 when we inaugurated that building in my background, the Innovation Center. We wanted a space where our students pa lang talaga yung gusto namin no, na a space wherein they could test their idea, develop their idea, and us mentoring them. And we want them not to solve big problems, but everyday problem that they are experiencing.
Got it.
So that's what we do at the Innovation Center for the first 2 years. And then the call of DOST came in,
Yan na.
establishing the incubators in universities, right? So, siyempre, sumulat kami, ganyan. Luckily, out of the 80, naging 30. Kasama kami sa 30.
Yan na.
Tapos yung 30, naging 20. And we were the only college. And the non-engineering school.
Wow.
That's way back 2017, 18. So sabi ko, shucks, I need to prove Miriam because we're not engineering. We don't have any tech in our programs. We're a liberal school, right? We're college lang. Parang ganun yung feeling. Sabi ko, ay, kailangan ko i-prove that we could do this, right?
Yeah.
Nagpa-mentor ako kay Doc Louie.
Shout out, Doc Louie.
Oo. So, Doc Louie, yun ang gagawin ko, ganyan. So,
Katabi nyo lang eh. Sa UP
Oo
Town.
nga.
Okay.
So, luckily, we were one of the first 10 who were funded by DOST. And during the first year of our incubator, we are still finding what we are really good at. Ang hirap mag-compete sa engineering school, right? They have all the tech, that they would like to commercialize. They have
Mm.
everything. So parang kami, anong gagawin ko? Yun talaga yung iniisip ko. Di ba kayo na sinabi ko, naiiyak na ako na parang anong nang gagawin ko and all of that.
Correct.
But we refocused. The team refocused and we really looked into ano ba yung best na ano yung best ng Miriam.
Mm.
So we were the first incubator in the Philippines who trained junior high school and senior high school students in terms of
Oh.
startup development, embracing technology. So during the first few years of Miriam, kami talaga yung palaging sinasabi ni Dio, go to Miriam. Pag basic ed.
Galing.
So that's grade 10 to 12. So we have been hand-holding batang student teams. So they were able to create AR, VR, IoT.
Wow. Galing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're happy because our basic education really is into STEM. I think one of the reasons why we're able to have student teams as young as they are.
Got it.
And then we try to bridge them with our higher education. So we're good in education, we're good in business. So we focus on that.
That's
So that's
amazing.
how paano kami nakilala as Miriam College Technology Business Incubator. We started with young students.
Mm.
And our school integrated entrepreneurship as young as preschool.
What?
Mm.
How? Okay, so I have a bias towards this. And this is my theory. Ayan, not proven. Theory lang. Okay. I feel like being an entrepreneur needs to be taught as early as possible, because if you don't believe that you have a chance to succeed in entrepreneurship, given the degree of difficulty, you're already dead in the water the moment you decide.
Yes.
You need to understand how big and how good you can possibly be by having big ambition. Kasi if from the get-go, your ambition is just to become the best food cart in Katipunan Avenue, that's great. But the sky is very, very low for you. Because you were not taught how big you can possibly win. And I feel, so yeah, not just exposure of what it can possibly be done. We need role models we can look up to of Pinoy founders that came from the academe that or either that did it, that they can actually relate themselves into na, uy, kaya pala nito na ganito. And the other thing too is there's also a misnomer. Theory lang, ma'am Indo. There's also a misnomer that the only time you can be successful in a startup is if you're the CEO.
No.
Absolutely not. I always say this when I do talks. Everybody wants to become Batman because it's over glamorized. The CEO X is this. But CEO, in order for them to really win, they need the Justice League. They need the
Yes.
Avengers. It's a team sport. So you can still be a successful startup founder without being the CEO. You can be
Yes.
Robin, you can be a CMO, you can be a dev, you can be a creative, whatever. But it's
agree.
equally as important. So it's not one path. Pero you need to understand that very early on that that's where you can actually end up because somebody has already done it before you and they look like you, they talk like you, and they've went through the same problems as you.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I agree with you. I think that's one of the reason as well why we wanted entrepreneurship integrated in the things that our students are doing. Because we believe that entrepreneurship at the end of it is not really just setting up your own venture, right? It's having that mindset. So when do we instill that mindset? Pag college na, too late, diba?
Correct.
So I think that's one of the things that we considered is developing that entrepreneurial mindset on the onset as young as kindergarten so that they would understand even if they do not set up their own businesses or own ventures, yung mindset na yun will bring them forward.
Actually, I have
So-
one more theory pa nga, ma'am. Malakas Miriam dito. Because I encounter so many of your graduates ending up in this industry. media tech,
Yeah.
digital media. Because everybody now, okay, when kids grow up, what do they want to be like? They want to be a content creator. Blah, blah, blah. There's nothing
Oo.
wrong with that if you
Oo.
understand the business of it. It is a business. And
Biggest. Yeah.
Filipinos are actually primed because culturally, ang laki ng market
Oo.
on digital media. Wala lang nagtuturo the proper way. And people look at it na entertainment lang. No, it's not. I created my own empire in podcasting on this.
Yes.
So, Miriam, galingan nyo. UST, habol naman dyan.
I
Sorry,
think,
joke lang. Trash talk lang. Okay.
ano lang talaga, developing our own MC sphere in terms of our students finding opportunities should be in place.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Kasi nga, madami. But of course, we need our student, our girls, our boys, may boys na kasi kami,
Mhm.
sa New Valley at sa Alviera campuses.
Mm.
So, give them the opportunity to think not outside the box, anywhere, right?
Mm.
So that they could create solutions and eventually think of it as something that would matter to other people. And siguro tama kayong pag sabi natin na you cannot hindi mo naman sasabihin lang na porket CEO ka, ikaw yung the best, right?
Huh?
So we also teach that teamwork is
Correct.
important. Kasi you will never get there if you're alone.
Mm.
Diba?
Yep.
You need people. You don't know everything. Yan yung palagi namin sinasabi. You don't know everything.
Correct.
You have to build your people around you because they will help you
Exactly.
achieve.
I'll
what
give you an
you
example. An MC graduate. Oddly enough, he's a guy. One of the best podcasters in the Philippines. One fifth of the Cool Pals, GB Labrador, is a MC graduate.
Yeah.
Oh, ayan, di ba? MediaTek yan.
Mm-mm.
They have their own company now. Cool Pals is actually a company. They started out with us.
Madami na nga rin kaming nasa edtech na students.
That's amazing. Okay, so now we're here in you have the thing. What were the most difficult things? Creating an incubator, not easy. It's just like creating a whole new startup.
It's
pero,
like you setting up your own startup.
Pero the metric is creating new company. So you're not in control of your own company. You're your own destiny. You're hoping that one of these companies will actually make it. Right? What was the hard part in doing that?
The hard part is first for Miriam. It's really, as mentioned kanina, we're not a tech school, we're not an engineering school. It's really looking for network so that I could pull together our mentors pool, our investor, and all of that. So that we could provide support to our startups. So we realized then that mahirap palang gumawa ng student team.
Yep.
So first year, MC, focus MC. So ngayon, hindi na. So we have opened our doors after our cohort 1 to outside of MC.
Got it.
So we bring them to MC. So they are part of the MC community. And every time we evaluate why they are why would they like to be part of MCTBI? It's because of our advocacies.
Got it.
They believe in the same advocacy that we have. So, luckily, happily, we're happy that we have, I think, 10 early stage startups right now.
Nice.
And the most difficult part is sustaining them.
Yeah. Yes. And people, kasi there's also misunderstanding. Okay, this is where I'm gonna burst the bubble. Yes, I've been able to raise for all of my startups, all 4 of them. But just because you can raise doesn't mean you should.
Yes.
Okay? The best way to still raise funding for your startup is through revenue and great margins.
Yes.
You're creating a business. A startup is a temporary phase in chase to becoming a repeatable and scalable business model, which is a business. You only use technology as a multiplier, as a to get there fast. O, di ba? Educator na ako, ma'am. Okay.
Yun yung
Or-
pinakamahirap talaga. Kasi siguro kami ron sa Miriam, we provide initial seed funding. We give. Hindi naman ganun kalaki, pero we gauge. Kasi based on our experience as well, if we do not provide yung a little hand-holding,
Wala.
ang hirap mag-fly, diba?
Wala.
So, we provide a little support.
Do you guys own
And-
the IP of the
No.
this? Okay.
No,
Because
no.
I've seen also setups where, oddly enough, the university or the
Owns the IP.
owns it. It's like that's nobody's gonna fund that. Because why will someone external fund the IP?
No. So we don't own them. It's the founder or the startup owns the IP. So kami, since we're an NGO, we're a foundation.
Yeah.
So talagang kawang gawa to.
Yeah.
So we provide a little funding so that they could really move out.
Hmm.
Kasi kailangan ng prototyping, MVP, market
Yep.
validation, all of that, right? So for the past 4 years, we've been doing that. Kaya kami may 10 early stage startup
Galing.
because of that. But engaging with them, yung helping them sustain, ang hirap.
Yeah. Very, very difficult.
But at least they know, as you
Yeah.
mentioned kanina, diba? Hindi talaga dapat nakadependent doon sa support.
no.
It's them really running, doing their operations and earning from it. And happily, I think half of our startups already are earning.
Nice. So who are these your creme de la creme? Sino yung mga star students or star startups?
Ang startup namin is the one is from Sultan Kudarat.
Wow.
Oh.
Galing.
So we have a startup from Sultan Kudarat. Their studentship.ph. It's an after-school program for math and sciences because the problem that they're solving is that the DepEd curriculum is not enough.
Nope.
So yun yung pinaprovide nila.
Especially in the age of AI.
Yes.
You're always going to be playing behind the 8 ball now.
So yun yung ano namin. Ano nga siya, finalist for the Filipino Ovation Mindanao leg.
Very nice. Congrats.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Okay, who else?
The second one is from Baguio. Di ba ang lalat?
North to south.
Oo. So we have this social enterprise siya. Naging
Got it.
social enterprise siya. So ang ano naman niya is VA.
There's a lot of VAs.
Yes. So siya, ang ano niya is training the ano bang tao? Ifugaos?
Galing.
To do VA so that
The-
they will have earnings.
Oh, for
Diba?
sure.
Yung panggastos nila everyday. Kasi marami daw na mga IPs na walang trabaho. And minsan yung iba is out of school youth. So yun yung tinatrain nila. Yun yung binibigyan nila ng trabaho as a VA.
Got it.
So they're
Galing.
expanding their network in Australia already.
Amazing.
Mm.
And
So,
this is what I was
ganyan.
saying. I remember telling Dave a couple episodes ago that, the best Filipino startups, in my opinion, because I've seen the best of them. Sina Steve C. I'm friends with all. I've seen the whole spectrum. I'm right smack in the middle. The startup that will really move the needle and break every single barrier from the Philippines has to be local and has to have a personal attachment to the problem that they want to solve. The
Yeah.
problem lang, marami, and I'm going to say this here, Ma'am Indo, a lot of the TBI level startups do not see how big they can possibly get. Their ambition is too limited. And this is where you'd be surprised how many founders that are actually in that level are willing to help. Pero there's a gap. There's a chasm over who wants to reach out. Kasi the best founders that can help are already people that are already doing it. Naka-raise na ng Series A, Series B, Series C. But they're too busy. So we need to be the one chasing them na, uy, turuan mo naman ako. How do you do it?
Oo.
Because a lot of us are willing to help. Na veterano na dami na yung uban dahil sa startups per se.
Gagawin kitang mentor sa
I'm
scale
always
NCR.
ready. Sinasayaban lang, ayaw nila ako. Okay. I'm always ready. And sometimes I even have an alternative path, ma'am. I feel, and I will use Hustle Share as a path to this. If you're not ready to become a founder yet, the safest path for you to become a founder is to become a startup employee muna. Learn while you're getting
Yeah.
paid. Earn the competence in order to build the confidence.
Mm-mm.
Because once you have it, then you'll develop the passion. Then you'll understand how breakneck the speed is, how
Oo.
ambition plays a big part. That, like, for example, oh, kaya pala si Edna Mama super galing because they weren't happy with just the Philippines. Oh, kaya pala si Cloud Kitchen had to go overseas because the Philippines is not big enough.
For them,
But
yeah.
if you look at the local game, the composition of the team is still very Filipino eh.
Oo.
But the TAM, they understand how big the problem is, and that's that's the prize they want to unlock. So,
Yan, I
yes,
think yan din yung sinasabi namin. Like yung sa startup namin sa Sultan Kudarat,
Mm.
may gustong mag-franchise. Sabi namin, no. Kasi parang when we read the contract and all of that, at the end of the day, parang wala na siyang share dun sa startup.
yeah, it's onerous.
Yeah, sabi namin, no, just build it on your own. If ikaw nagsimula niyan, do you want to expand? Expand slowly. I mean, learn the ropes.
Correct.
Learn what's happening in Region 9, Region 10, and expand and then reach wherever you want to do, wherever you want to go.
Yeah,
diba?
correct. Basta yun lang, the from a TBI level, I just know it. The biggest Filipino company will come from this. Pero you need to think like a Steve C, like an ER Rolyan, like a Roland Ross. That's what it takes. If you marry local savvy and global ambition, that's where we will make mamaws on mamaws and mamaws.
Yes.
There. Okay, so that's what I now want to understand. So now you have the startups. Again, a lot of these are siloed. Parang you have an internal friendly competition pa nga sometimes, right?
Yes.
But in reality, you're all trying to solve one big problem, and it's behemoth as well. How did these silos, like you, the one from Paul Paho and Binailed Hi-Fi, and all that, right? How did the conversation revolve around, hey, let's group up and help each other out instead of doing this in a siloed manner?
Yeah. I think siguro Ron, you mentioned nga marami na kaming TBIs, university-based TBIs, right?
Yeah.
I think we're 59 right now. Under Picard lang, ha?
Kina Paul, kana Ma'am Russ.
Oo. Sa Picard lang, 59. Kasi ang Picard meron din sariling TBIs. So for under Picard, I think we're 59. And sabi mo nga, nagko-compete din kami at the end of the day. Getting the numbers, getting the number of startups incubated, the investment and all of that. But I think DOST realized or they wanted to break that already. Kaya kami ginawang consortium. So there is now 16 consortiums across the Philippines. It's by region. And NCR is the biggest. So we are 8 founding members.
Parang you up ah.
Okay. Diba? So we're 8. Miriam, UP, De La Salle, sina Animal Lab, sina Dave. TIP, UST, Mapua, Adamson, and Kubo.
Yeah.
So kami yung 8.
Do you know I'm Kubo Cutie number 1 sa Kubo?
Ay,
Ako yung very first startup.
First nila.
I incubate, and also the first. They didn't have equity when I exited in Chatbot PH, but I was the first startup incubated in Kubo. I built Chatbot PH in Kubo.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice naman. So yun, ganun yung story. And then, now, we're working together. We harmonize our programs. Pag may kailangan, Dave, kailangan ito. So, hindi na kami it's really sharing the resources already. Kasi nga, sabi, diba, isa lang yung goal namin is really to help the startup ecosystem. So if we work in silos, it's gonna be difficult, especially for the startups that we are incubating. Kasi they're hopping na lang. Like, incubated ni Miriam, lilipat sa UP, lilipat sa ganyan.
Punta kay Paul.
Oo. So ngayon, isa na lang, Scale NCR. Tapos lahat kami nandun. So
Got
kung may kailangan ng ganito, upscale kayo yung mag-provide ng mentor, or Animal Labs, can you provide the space? Kasi taga-Lasal to. So, we're doing that right now. So, we're happy with what Scale NCR is doing. And siguro then, it helped us find the right partners.
Got it.
Diba? Hindi na lang Miriam yung lalapit sa isang investor, but it's really Scale NCR and then those benefiting are not lang from Miriam. It's everybody in the National Capital Region. Hirap, no?
Yes, I know. Okay. I'm very good friends with Kat Chan, and I know the hustle she had to go through, at least on the Kubo side, just to make ends meet. Now, let's take our last break, ma'am, and then we come back. We'll now talk about the challenges and what's up next for Scale NCR, because obviously we're just at the tip of the iceberg. But again, Philippine Startup Week is here, and you're not going to be going anywhere, but we need to have an active participation to help these TBIs. They're not just here to just exist. The startup ecosystem, I swear to God, and I'm willing to bet my name on it, the best Filipino startup will come from the TBI level. Pero it needs to be trained to be global.
Yeah.
Mamaw mode. Let's talk about that more after the break.
Hustlers, before we resume the episode, let me tell you a very quick secret. Do you guys ever wonder how we're able to consistently release episode after episode here in Hustle Share without missing a date over the past 3 years? Well, it's not just pure hustle, because I'm also running my podcast along with me running my startup full time. Now, for some of you who have listened to this podcast, you guys very well know that I created a startup that is designed to help the best podcasters in Southeast Asia to realize their full potential, which is called Podcast Network Asia. And over the past couple of years, we've achieved quite a lot in P&A, helping hundreds of podcasters create world-class episodes consistently. However, what we realize is that we are not really solving the real problem of all podcasters in the world if we're not going to productize the thing that we're very good at, which is helping podcasters solve the two main pain points of a podcaster, which is number one, nobody really likes to edit their own show, especially if you're listening to your own voice. Just like me, I cringe a lot. Having to listen to my voice for 3 to 4 hours just to release a 1-hour episode. It's no fun. And then the other thing is that most podcasters, just like me, are absolutely clueless on how to properly grow their show, which is something that we have perfected in Podcast Network Asia. So we've decided to put this all in one product that helps any podcaster in the world create world-class shows that people will love and will continuously grow. And that's why we created PodMachine. PodMachine is the most affordable podcast subscription service that helps you with your podcasting needs. We've got everything from audio production, crafting designs, and marketing and growth support. So as a podcaster, you can now just focus on the thing that matters the most, creating great content for your listeners. So if you are an existing podcaster or someone that actually wants to create their podcast now, no need to worry. You got a founder's discount by listening here on Hustle Share. So sign up now at podmachine.com. And aside from the free trial that you're going to get as a new user, I'm throwing in another one free edit as soon as you sign up for just as low as $49.99 USD a month to start creating a consistent and world-class podcast. Again, that's podmachine.com and use the code HustleShare to get your founder discount. So if you have friends that are podcasters and if you want to have a podcast just like this, y'all know what to do. So just go and talk to you guys in PodMachine.
And we're back from the break. We are still with Miss Indo Ibanez. So that's the amazing journey of how the incubation of campaign or facility of MC or Miriam College was done, all the way to how it became incorporated like the UAAP or the NCAA, but Scale NCR is the name. So now Scale NCR exists, but I
Yes.
already know that you guys have the same problems that you encounter.
Yes.
How? First off, two-sided question here. How are you guys able to solve these problems, and what problems are these? And how can the ecosystem na hindi kayo-kayo lang help to help you solve these problems? Kasi it's a pipeline. I feel like it's a pipeline. If we don't have enough quality founders,
Mm-mm.
you can create founders. But if you don't have enough quality founders, there's not enough funding that will happen. And we need that new wave of founders to come through year in and year out.
Mm-mm.
Actually, we're feeling that crunch now in the ecosystem. There's
Yeah.
not enough founders. The VCs ask me, hey, what's going on there? There's not enough founders, bro. I'm
Oo
like,
nga eh.
so we need to supply new blood
Mm-mm.
willing to innovate. What was that like for you guys? So these problems, and how can we help?
I think one of the initial concern that we had when we Scale NCR is just 2 years old, baby pa lang siya.
Mm.
Diba? From an incubator na startup, parang nagsa-startup ulit kami. so, so, yung initial concern namin really is we are all university-based.
Mm.
So who are our startups? Who are we producing? It's student-led, right? And being in this university ecosystem, we realized then as well that iba rin yung mindset ng mga student-led startups.
Yeah.
Of course, they want to graduate.
Of course.
Second is, they need to fulfill the requirements to be able to graduate. So, nasa na yung startup nila. So, it's the least of their priorities. So, yun yung pinag-uusapan namin. How are we going to increase our student-led startups so that viable sa kanilang pagiging startup? Then we realize it's not only the student problem, it's also the parents. Because ang perception nila with a startup is it's a side hustle.
Walang pera dyan.
Oo. So, yan yung mga binibreak namin ngayon. And happily that in our own institutions, it's slowly being integrated so that the work of the students is not that heavy already and that they could really have time for their startups. And once they really, yun, di ba sabi mo kanina, talagang kung gusto nilang iset up to, tutulungan natin sila.
Correct.
So, as Scale NCR, we are doing that as a consortium already. We are also trying to bridge, kasi like last week when we had the TBI Summit, doon din pinag-usapan that asa na mga founders, nasaan na yung pipeline. So may gap kasi talaga eh.
Yes.
There is a gap.
Yep.
And the gap is funding. Sinabi ko rin.
Funding for the TBIs?
Not for the TBIs. I think for the startups that we are incubating. Palagi yun yung nakikita naming gap. Is yung sinabi ko nga sa'yo kanina that they need funding to do MVP, to do validation. Kasi nga students tong mga to. Hindi pa kami siguro there are two-prong. Isang student-led, isang professional-led, right? Yung, it's easier for the professionals to set up their own startups because they know na. They have the know-how already. They have the tech in mind. They kind of have at least 20% of the venture in their mind.
Yeah.
But the student one, ito
Blank
yung
canvas.
malaki yung pool. Ito yung madami. So, ito yung tinatry namin i-bridge. Also, bridging the other side. So, yun yung challenge number 1. The challenge number 2 is, as you mentioned, the funding per se. Because
Got it.
the startups that we have is not yet, some of them are not yet ready for
Yeah.
funding.
Yeah. No, yeah, correct.
So, we need to develop them. So, we need the support of
Got it.
na mga naging, kayo, mga naging
I
na
will help.
founders na,
Okay,
right?
ito na. I'm being pulled. Okay. Wait lang, founder pa rin po ako. Okay.
Oo, kailangan talaga the ecosystem, all players are there so that the support really is harmonized.
Correct.
Ba?
Yes, kailangan hilaan pataas. Hindi
Oo.
kanya-kanya. And
Yeah.
this is where again my thesis comes from. Okay. So I also know how investors think. Especially in this climate, they will not there are very, very few times in this country or in this region where a fund will be existing and their approach would be spray and pray.
Mm-mm.
Meaning, sige, fund lang ng fund. The last iteration of that, especially because yung LPs, the people, the high net worth individuals, the sovereign wealth funds or whoever, the family offices that fund these DCs did not get the return they were expecting. So bakit sila uulit? The last iteration that we kind of have that is Idea Space. But even Idea Space did not probably yield what they promised MVP. MVP. Kaya makalalo dito. And not their fault.
Yes.
They built the ecosystem. And they're the most active thing. And we should be eternally grateful. But it will be very difficult to get someone else to also take that bet year in and year out to fund startups nang wala lang. Just because.
Totoo yun.
So, the path here is to create competency. That's my thesis. Now, okay, sige. At the current state of these founders or want to be founders, mahirap silang fundan. But if you build them with founder-like skills under a high-performing tech startup, pag ready na yan, while they're a student,
pwede na.
You will have a second look. Kasi mismo, the first people that would invest in those kids are the startups that they actually work for or mentored in.
Yes.
Kasi you've developed it na eh. Now, again, in a startup ecosystem, they have this trope. Kaya founders came up with this. Now, we last 2, 3, 4, 5 years. A lot of the Filipino startup founders that got invested on here, and I came from that too, that trope, are second generation startup founders. What does that mean? We used to work for a tech startup. And the reason why we became savvy enough to be investable is because we already paid our dues. Namely, Jess De Mesa Lim of Kindred, Zalora, Rocky Ritter.
Yeah.
Meron pa nga, second-time startup founder, si Mary Martirez of Resbin. Tried as a startup founder, failed. Worked for Kumu first, became a Mamaw, tried again, Mamaw na ulit. Right? So, this is a trope that I see that it becomes less risky.
Yes.
The money is there, FYI. They're just not willing to do spray and pray. They want to invest in startup founders na hinog. So that it becomes someone really
investable. Yeah, that's really what we wanted. That's what we've been trying to do for the past year, is really to have the startups investable. Kaya I think us, diba, we're all university based, but now we're really looking outside of the schools so that we could find mentors, we could find the supporters, or diba, para din, kasi we know what we know is really by the book.
Yeah.
So we need people who would really teach them.
I will get all my friends and former guests of Hustle Share here. I will gather them all. Those who are willing. Kasi you'd be surprised how many are willing. Wala lang nagbe-bridge ng gap.
So i-bridge ko na yung gap.
O tara na, let's go. See you in UP Town.
Yan din yung sinasabi sa amin ni Ray. Kasi si Ray, kausap namin si Kaya.
Yeah.
Sabi niya, kailangan on the onset siguro na sa incubation program pa lang, involved na para masabihan, ma-mentor, ito yung kailangan gawin, ito yung ipipivot.
Yeah.
Kasi syempre, coming from us, parang we have the credibility. We have all the PhD, MA, and all of that. But experience-wise working for a startup, being in the ecosystem or investing is yun yung wala. So we're bridging that. I think yun yung ginagawa na namin. So we need all of you
Ayan.
to help
Mga
us
founders,
in the
my
gap.
friends, my bros cheese, tulong tayo dito, guys. And here's the sad part. I also feel this way. A lot of the founders, what you'll realize, and you'll probably see this in Philippine Startup Week. A lot of who created their startups pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, or right after the pandemic are on survival mode. Hirap na hirap kami. Okay? So it's hard to give back when you don't know if you have payroll. On the 15th, ito, 13th month, fucking shit, we're trying to figure out how the hell we're gonna do 13th month. But in their heart of hearts, they want to pay it forward. And unfortunately, we're just really battling for survival. We don't want to be one of the dead people.
Yes,
But when the tide turns, hopefully we this whole thing ends already. I bet you bottom dollar, a lot of them are going to be willing. Kahit ngayon, pero a lot of us are just really on survival mode. And it's not that we're jaded. It's just that the stakes are so high. Every day counts, and we cannot afford to do that. Because we now know that the funding that once existed also does not exist. So the only path for us to make it out of this desert is through consistent profit. If wala, deads kami. Wala kami sa Philippine Startup Week Top 100 next year. That's what's gonna happen. So yeah, those are the things. But I'm pretty sure this can be done because I feel like the foundations are there. We just need to bridge it, and that bridge needs to be not once in a life, once a year gathering or reporting. It's a weekly cadence of, yo, this is how you need to do it, blah, 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 blah. Because as among founders, we who have been funded, who are struggling, or, or just trying to make it, we do spend time with each other. But these are bilateral conversations that happen. We all look for each other out. Whether it's an intro, a quick powwow, whatever, we really do it. But we need to expand that. And this is the risk that I always see also, Miss Indo. Sorry, I'm really, really opinionated about this topic. Sometimes, because as founders do not want to play an active part to pay it forward and to involve and mentor the next generation, it opens up that void for bad actors and charlatans to fill the gap.
Yes.
So ang natitira tuloy, weird. So ang natuturo, weird. The end game is yung blank, yung student sana na may potential got taught the wrong way, wala na. Sayang.
Nawawala. Yun nga, sayang talaga. So I'm happy. I think I'm happy that I get to, we're close already. I think pag narinig to ni Dave. Diba? I mean, I'm happy that I met Dave because yung network niya, experiences niya really kinda helped me realize a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then knowing people yung mga during summits, during meetups, during events helped me really understand what we need to do as a consortium.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm happy as well that I meet founders like you who is willing
na may pakipa.
To help yung mga future budding founders. So that, diba, we don't want na tumigil ba ang startup world natin because we cannot bridge the gap.
Correct. And again, I attribute this to my mentor. Na I had to seek out because I couldn't learn what I needed in UST in 2009.
Yes.
His name is Joji Azurin. And he told me, my condition well, before he helped me out to mentor me, he said that if I ever become successful, I shouldn't pay him back. I should pay it forward. And that's why I'm in year 6 of Hustle Share. Because if I can't do the active participation in person, At least I have 6 years worth of content of amazing startup founders and community builders in the Philippines that you can listen to, and it will outlive me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mahirap to,
nice.
It's not easy. I carve out time for myself from stuff that I do to make this work, but it's something that I take absolute joy to do. So, ma'am, last question. Obviously, there's going to be another Philippine Startup Week. What should people expect from Scale NCR?
Okay, so for Scale NCR, for Philippine Startup Week.
Both of the above. Yeah.
Okay, so for Scale NCR, we're moving out of our grant already. So we're planning already for what to do next in the couple of months and years.
Mhm.
But definitely we will stay as a supporter for the NCR startup ecosystem. We have already planned out what we wanted to do next year. But definitely you will see more of Scale NCR working with
Yeah.
different players already, not only the investors and the universities, but will, I think, expand our founder
Yeah.
network already. So number one doon si Ron.
Hello.
Bilang siya ang number one cuties.
Okay.
And then watch out for the Philippine Startup Week 2025. It's gonna be on November 10 to 14 at the Philippine Innovation Hub.
Yep.
We this is the most tiring Philippine Startup Week,
Yan na.
I think.
Mm.
But we have installed a lot of activities, networking activities as well.
Mm.
And we are bringing in founders across the Philippines so that they get to meet, interact with other founders, and learn from one another. So please join us
Yeah.
at the Philippine Startup Week sa Philippine Innovation Hub dyan sa Marikina.
There you go.
And let's work together in building our startup ecosystem stronger, from local to go global, and meet new friends who will
Yeah.
support our growth.
Yan. Hilaan pataas. Again, thank
Yes.
you so much. Appreciate it, Miss Indo, for such an amazing episode. But before I let you go, follow us on whatever podcast app you're listening to, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you're listening to podcasts. You can see, if you can see a subscribe or follow button, smash that button so you can actually get more episodes like this. And if you also any day, we did say some jargon or any links, which is going to be the show notes on hustleshare.com. And also big shout out to our premium supporters like One CFO to allow us to do what we do. This is not
Nice.
cheap and not easy. We also need support in funding in order to get this done. But again, the reason why we're able to do that is because amazing companies and institutions allow us to do that.
Yes.
So big shout out and thank you to you. Again, Miss Indo, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, everybody.
All right, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.